take Jaden Daniels out of the equation.
Yes.
The Commanders rookie who will have the biggest impact in September right away is
offense or defense or both?
either way.
I'll go with offense because I know you guys only care about offense, and I'll say Luke McCaffrey.
Oh, you think he's going to be on the field?
I think he's going to be a stud.
What's his path? Like, in other words, is he majoring
slot?
So
and
then
I
what's
think
Dotson
he's going to be used outside as well. And Dotson, I mean, I don't know how this staff views Dotson per se, but the way I think they've used him so far from what I've heard from OTAs is mostly still outside, and that's the way the previous staff still used him, even though he's really more of a slot type body.
Whose side are you on Jahan Dotson? I still think he's a pretty good player. Danny thinks he's me.
I mean, I'm still more with you because I can't totally blame him, just like I can't blame anybody for last year's debacle.
Kind of my thought. By the way, have you? I'm doing a bit.
I do have questions though.
Sure, of course,
fair,
but I don't remember you ever cooling so hard in a year on anyone.
I can't remember either.
Normally, if you're that high on someone, because you were with me, we
Yes.
both predicted.
I thought he was going to lead
year.
the team in catches, maybe not yards, because McLaurin had a little bit more explosion to his game. But I thought he would lead the team in catches and be like a bona fide wide receiver 1.5, like not a better than a 2, but not quite a 1.
And I've admitted I was wrong. Like I'm hedging my bets. I said he could be better than McLaurin. He could be a top 15 guy. I don't see any of that anymore. But I think that Bieniemy wasn't particularly good. Howell didn't help him, right? There's a lot of things that went against him last year. I think he'll be better in year 3.
You know who's right about this? Just want to give a tip of the old ball cap to. Remember in week 3 when they were blasted by Buffalo and shut out and they just couldn't get anything going on offense? Jay Gruden, the next day, called out their wide receivers for running bunched routes and being confusion in the route separation and being in the wrong areas and whatnot. And, we don't know if that's all Eric Bieniemy, some Eric Bieniemy, some receiver, some whatever. Jay Gruden was dead on balls accurate about just that being a problem for across the board for the offense and the wide receivers, specifically week 3.
Jay can design offense.
He knows a little bit about that.
People like beating up Jay Gruden for a lot of different things. Yeah. He was a smarter offensive mind than anybody had in this building last year. I'll tell you that right now.
That is true.
But to that point, Danny, have you ever gone from on Dotson, let's say you were an 8 to a 1? You know what I mean? Like
I can't think of it.
Out.
I can't think of another.
Why are you so out?
They threw it a million times. They led the league in pass attempts, and he'd have months without a target. Like it's not because they were mad at him. It's like he's not open. He's not catching the ball. He's not productive. He was a lost puppy. I understand the offensive system and design wasn't very good. I get that. Terry McLaurin still managed 1,000 yards. Logan Thomas, who moves like I do after pickleball, managed several hundred yards more than Dotson.
He had 1 target in the Atlanta game.
Yeah,
you're not going to do a lot with that. He had 2 targets against Seattle. He had 1 target, 1 catch for 12 yards against the Rams. He had 1 target again. It's not like he was like getting 9 targets and doing nothing. A game where they gave him 10 targets, he had 8 catches.
He had 1 big game.
Yards.
The other 9 target game, he had 27 yards against Philadelphia. So to me, here what happened is.
So by that standard, twice they threw him the football. Once he had an awesome game. The other time he had a touchdown in a meh game.
Yeah, he fell off a cliff, and there's more to it than the play caller was mean or something. Like other people figured it out. If he was moderately productive, I'd have been like, okay, I get it. He was a disaster last year.
You know what it felt somewhat to me, and I don't know if it's a great comparison, but you guys will probably understand where I'm going. Remember the first half of 2022 for Terry McLaurin when Scott Turner in his final year just refused to throw screens, refused to get him the ball in quick game, in the quick and there would just be like this mystifying absence of Terry McLaurin from targets, from catches,
we
obviously.
mentioned it on this show a couple times.
Yeah, we brought it up.
Well, I'm just saying, but I mean, Jahan Dotson, like you're saying, well, when they threw to Jahan, he was fairly successful. When you don't target somebody, again, sometimes it's because the guy doesn't get open. Sometimes it's because it's not the game plan. Sometimes it's the quarterback making a different read or based on coverages or whatever. Sometimes it's just, we don't emphasize a guy for whatever reason. And that's what it somewhat felt like last year. Like, how in the world could you go from whatever he was in his rookie year, which was cut short by 5 games, to whatever he was for the most part last year, which was just absent.
When we had these discussions forever ago about Josh Dotson, a different Dotson, to be very clear,
yeah.
When the coaching staff was getting their word out, oh, this guy's a baller, he's a baller. I was like, okay, where's the breakdown then? Jay Gruden can coordinate offense. Kirk Cousins passes to the open guy, and yet Dotson is going weeks without many targets and is very productive. He had as many catches as a fullback did, and so. There's a breakdown somewhere in the chain, right? For a coach that all he wants to do is throw, a quarterback that is slinging it and doesn't care about turnovers, seemingly,
but
we're never throwing to Dotson?
Well, but it is possible that Dotson's role in that offense, which is the opposite of what I anticipated, by the way, was not one that was conducive to being the guy that came free. It is possible that it was a blind spot for Sam Howell, like on a lot of concepts, whatever he was running. But if he was the guy on the drag or the cross or whatever, that Howell liked to read things top down. Like, it just wasn't the proclivity necessarily that maybe it is with the next quarterback and the next offense. And what I would push back on in the analogy that you used was you mentioned Josh Dotson.
Mm-hmm.
His sizzle reel doesn't exist. The Josh Dotson rookie year sizzle reel of like big plays is special. It's mossing dudes for 50-yard Hail Mary, hope and prayer throws from Heineke. It's spin routes, putting dudes in blenders. It's breaking tackles. It's high point contested catches as a little guy. Like Josh Dotson had a couple of nice grabs in his career.
He had those mossing catches because he was never open.
No, but he had a few catches that matter. I'm saying the sizzle reel for Dotson, when you watch it, you go, holy crap, this guy's legit.
For Jahan.
Yeah. You don't have
remember they rushed
together.
Remember they rushed Josh Dotson back because they were so like, oh my God, we got to get this guy on the field. And there was one dummy that was in this studio back then when I was out of jail and allowed on 106.7 The Fan on a regular basis that said, hey, they're rushing this guy back. They just want to get him back. He's not ready. And of course he wasn't ready.
Rainey, you still got it. You shouldn't be retired, dude.
You
got to get back on air. I'm going to talk to CK.
Oh, please do.
Yeah, I'm going to talk to CK. We're going to get you back on air.
Yeah.
I think he's even got 2 sports stations.
How about maybe? How about the 2 a.m. slot? I'd like to do that.
What about
instead of like the current choice?
What about Grant and Danny and Rainey?
How about?
Oh, ringing the bell.
I thought it was
not enough oxygen on this side of the room.
I thought it was Greg and Dave. Am I on the wrong show?
Greg and Dave and old Stewie.
How about that? Triple threat if I ever say so.
If you want, you can get first billing. We'll go Slash.
I think Grant, you guys have done a pretty successful job in this time slot and others. I'm willing to play the backseat role. If you guys would just have me along for the ride, I'd love to come and hang out with you a little bit more.
Darius, what do you think? You okay with this? We'll just add Russell as our third man every day.
Yeah. I mean, as long as it gives
4
me,
o'clock,
as long as it gives me an excuse to use the sounder more.
Good Lord.
That's my favorite part. Is the
There's just a lot of bad sound bites and drops of me. I mean, there just is.
You going to the ball game tonight?
We're going to the baseball match tonight. Seems like everyone's going.
Danny and I are going to go hang out. We're going to, go have a few brewskis, maybe a hot dog or two.
I'm also going tonight.
Oh,
I can't.
But you're Press Box Paulson, aren't you?
I'm going to Press Box.
Yeah. So you get the good buffet up there, right?
Probably not. We'll see.
What are you going to do?
I can't believe Danny's going to the game tonight.
This is pretty remarkable. When you told me,
he told us that, and he broke into a smile immediately.
Well, because everyone was staring at me like I just stolen something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm like, it's not that crazy.
It's pretty crazy.
Danny makes like 2 public appearances a year.
It's pretty crazy. Danny's trying to
wait. Did Danny show up at Claire Casserole?
Yeah,
he did.
Yeah.
How did it go?
It was delicious.
It was actually really good. It's annoying, but it was really good.
Yeah, he made a really good meal. Danny's trying to act like it's just another day in the park that he's going to a baseball game.
I mean, yeah, he dropped that knowing that we would all be surprised, and we were all surprised, of course, because he's going to a baseball game on the week.
I would say it's like one of 2 times all season where you'll go to a game when we're not already there for work. It's kind of a big moment.
But this is 2 social appearances and public appearances in less than a week for Danny.
No. It's a little much. It's tough to hear that from Mr. Gleyber Torres back there in old Yankee Stadium #1, Ryan Clary. But I will tell you It's too much. It's too much out of the house. I should probably go home.
Do you
But
know
my,
what
but my
Danny's
kid's going to be
doing
there.
now, and we got to go. But I'll just tell you really quickly.
Yeah.
Danny's playing pickup basketball at 6 a.m. He plays pickleball at like 9 a.m. to noon, and then afterwards, sometimes he plays another pickleball game at night.
Every day?
Not every day.
Oh,
Many days.
I mean, when do you fit in your weird ass video games?
Late night.
Oh my God.
Once everyone's asleep.